Good morning, YouTubers. T Square with T Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. Got a great video planned out for you guys, and it's not about gold, it's not about silver, it's not about Bitcoin. Although I will show the prices, talk maybe a minute about it, but it's actually about preparing outside of just wealth preservation. It's actually about just prepping overall, and I think it's important that people are preparing for what could be coming. Whether that, we've talked about time and time again about how to prep, and we've talked about different ways that things could break down, I guess you could say. And I think with everything going on now, I think it's important that we kind of talk a little bit about that again. I actually was talking to one friend yesterday, and he's like, well, I would think everybody has at least 10 days worth of food in their house. And I said, you would be surprised. Remember what happened during the blizzards, I guess, when I can't remember what states it was, somewhere out towards California. They got basically snowed in or something, and people weren't prepared for it. And a lot of people just got stuck, no food, no nothing, and it made for hard times. And, I got talking to him about it, and it kind of was a good conversation. I think it's important that people are prepared and they kind of think outside the box a little. So we're just going to talk today a little bit about prepping. If you enjoy the video, help me out by hitting that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel. And leave a comment. Let me know, what do you think about prepping? Are you just wealth preservation? I mean, because the truth of the matter is we're all preppers in one way or the other. No matter who it is, whether you're prepping for a car accident, so you buy insurance, whether you're prepping for a flood, so you buy flood insurance, whether you're prepping for a fire and you buy fire insurance, or even the obvious, you're preparing for, essentially you're prepping for some major event that you could need wealth insurance, man, I'm slipping up tonight. Basically, wealth insurance, wealth preservation. That's actually a form of preparing. And, we talk on the channel a lot about specifically gold, silver, Bitcoin, what's going on. But tonight, I think we should just talk a little bit about different stuff. If I don't say something and you have a good tip, go ahead and put it in the comments, because it may be something that I didn't think about, and I'm trying to recheck my preps right now. And the reason I'm doing that is obviously what's going on overseas, having a big impact over there. And, a lot of people wouldn't expect something like that could ever happen here in the United States, but stuff is escalating. And, there's a lot going on. And I think, when you realize some of the stuff going on overseas, you start to realize, well, maybe I should be preparing even for myself here at home. So before we get started, I always like to take a quick minute and just go over what the prices are on gold, silver, Bitcoin, and stuff. And the DXY. So right off the bat, silver having a little bit of a pop, not anything major. We're up essentially 17 cents or 0.5%, sitting at $33.13. We've kind of been locked in that range now for a while, that $32 to $34 range. And I think eventually something's going to happen and it's just going to really pop out of that. But I honestly don't think it will happen until after summer. Although, like I've said before, I think it's interesting that we're not seeing it have a big pullback. We're actually seeing it hover right around that range. And I think that's a really good thing for those of you guys that have been stacking for a while and you've been waiting for your essentially ship to come in. Did I just hit that? I don't want to hit that. Okay, I was trying to close it out. Okay, there we go. You're waiting for your ship to... Man, I keep getting all these virus protection things popping up. I don't know why. So I think it's important that people are preparing for what's going on. Actually, I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I think people need to be, one, preparing, also stacking. I know there's a lot of stackers out there right now that are kind of discouraged. The price hasn't been going many places. It's kind of just been fluttering right around this range. But I think eventually we're going to see it pop. And when it does, a lot of people are just going to miss the opportunity. Moving on, though, like I said, I want today to be more about prepping. take a quick minute, look at the gold price. We got the gold price right now trading at $3,326. Still pretty much right around that 100 to 1 gold silver ratio, which is pretty good. It's been holding its own. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin as of right now down to 104,828, down almost a full percent, 886 points. We've been seeing it kind of have a hard time in that range recently, pushing forward anymore. Some people think we might have hit a cap. I've heard some people say that our Bitcoin people have said that they think we're going to go to like 125, and then we might see some sort of a real pullback. So who knows? We'll see how it plays out. Taking a quick look at the DXY. DXY down some more as DXY is at 99.14. The dollar is weakening a little bit, but all currencies around the world are weakening. And so, it makes it look like the dollar is doing well, but the truth of the matter is things aren't going well. And that's why I think it's important that people pretty much prepare. Taking a quick look at the debt clock, we got the debt clock now at 36,926,000,000,000. I do expect that we will hit the big $37 trillion. Somewhere around the 18th now. It looks like we're kind of closing in a little faster. It is picking up momentum, so we'll see how that plays out. A lot of stuff still going on. I really didn't want to talk too much about the 90-day delay. Some of y'all know once they announced the 90-day delay, all of a sudden stocks just boomed, everything picked up. That's not over. We still got a lot to deal with on that note, and so I think it's important that people are preparing and using this kind of slow time for essentially opportunity to go over their preps, and kind of prepare. So I want to get into the prepping, what people should be doing. I will be putting a link below. You can join our Discord group for free right now. I'll make sure that link is updated when this video goes up, so you can click that link, join the Discord group. We have a lot of different windows on there, whether you want to learn about food preparation, whether you want to learn about security, water preparation, medicine preparation, a lot of different topics that we do talk about on there. And I think there's a lot of different things when you talk about prepping, because the first thing, in my opinion, I talk a lot about gold and silver, but the first and foremost thing that you should be considering is, do you have a source of food and water? If things really got ugly, how long could you go without going to Walmart? How long could you go without going to your local grocery store, whether it be Shop and Save or Shaw's or Hannaford or whatever y'all use, H-E-B. There's a lot of people around the country, different grocery stores. But how long could you go just on what you have at your house? Canned goods tend to keep a long time. And I'll be honest, I've talked to a lot of different people about this. I've talked to one couple at Walmart one day. They said they went overboard during the whole cough, and they overbought. And they bought tons of stuff, and then they got infested with weevils and roaches and all this stuff, and then they were so frustrated. And I said, that's why 5-gallon food-grade buckets, you can get them usually, in some cases, free from hamburger places. They're just pickle buckets. Wash them out, scrape the tags, and re-tag them, and you can do really well with them, and they're free. And then you can pick up your Mylar bags online, super cheap. You go on eBay. I actually had a link. I'll see if I can find the link below, to where you guys can get some great deals on some Mylar bags, and I'll put that in there. And I don't think I do now, but when I first put the link up, I actually did get some sort of a commission if anybody bought anything. I haven't used it in so long. I haven't even promoted it in so long. I haven't really been focusing on my prepping lately. I'll be honest. I've felt a little bit like, I spent all that work on the garden and nothing happened. And this year I said, I'm not going to go crazy and do a huge garden and then have nothing happen. And, they're making it more difficult. Some places now you can't do water collection. I'm like, what in the world is going on? There's actually a town near me that they don't allow you to do water collection. They want you to use their water, which is kind of funny because we're in a drought here in Texas, and you would think they would be promoting water collection instead of no, we don't want you doing it. Now I understand, for gardening or that type of stuff, you would think it would be a good thing because they don't want you washing your car outside. They don't want you cleaning, like watering your grass and stuff. But I think food and water, that's just the tip of the iceberg. After you've got food and water, I think the next thing you really need is some sort of protection. You need a security plan. A lot of people don't like to talk about pew-pews on YouTube because obviously it's a frowned on topic. But I think it's important that you have some sort of protection if things get crazy. Why? Why do I put food and water first? Well, obviously you need food and water to survive. After that, you need protection because once you've got something that people want, then you need to protect it. Now, honestly, I put the next one I would probably say even would be medicine. Consider medicine. I want to add an extra category on our Discord page, especially now that it's free to join. It's a good perk if you want to join. A lot of good information on there, and I want to add something that focuses on different types of medicine. And a lot of it has to do what's going on in Lebanon right now where, they're having a lot of issues. A lot of doctors are leaving the country because they can't get the medicine that they need when they prescribe it to people. They tell people, hey, this is what's wrong with you. You need to get yourself some of this and this. And people can't get it. And that really puts them in a hard spot. It puts people in a hard spot. And some of this stuff is just common everyday medicine that you can pick up at Walmart. Some of y'all know I had a dog bite me a couple weeks ago. And I don't know if I don't think it got infected. I went kind of a little crazy preparing when it happened, like how to handle it and like putting alcohol on the bite and kind of working it in there to where it really burned. I hate to say that. But I started having a big blister form in one of the bite marks, and it was more of a pinch. And I started talking to a friend of mine that is a pharmacist, and, he said, well, I doubt it would be a major infection because it's been, 3 weeks now? And, I mean, the bite has literally healed up. However, the blister, and so, we were talking about different creams like Neosporin and I can't remember what the other one was, but that's why I kind of want to add that. And I think it's important that people have a certain amount of medicine at home or in a kit that if they have to leave, all of a sudden they have some stuff they can kind of grab and go. And a lot of times medicine gets forgotten about. I talked to one friend. He's like, what is the point in having extra medicine? I mean, if stuff really broke down, okay, if you run out, let's say you have an extra couple months worth of medicine. What are you going to do when the couple months runs out? I mean, the truth of the matter is I'm convinced that if something really bad happens, it's not going to be forever. It's going to be a period of time, and I'm hoping the population don't get shrunk during that time. I think some of y'all can read between the lines what I'm saying there. However, eventually stuff comes back up online. Nothing lasts forever. I mean, even during the whole cough, it was difficult to get certain stuff. If you were already prepared and you were prepping, then you were probably all set. But eventually it came back up and running to where you could go to the store and get stuff. And I'm convinced the same thing would happen in today's world. I guess you can say if something bad happened, it wouldn't take long before supply chains would open back up. Now, some people will disagree with that, I'm sure, but I don't mean it's going to come back up necessarily the next day. If something bad happens, you can have like a month or two of downtime. I've seen Hurricane Harvey took out the power grid in my area for about 2 weeks, which wasn't horrible, but it was a miserable 2 weeks if you didn't have certain stuff on hand. And then I seen the ice storm of, I think, 1998 up in New England, where we just got a ton of freezing rain all at once, and the trees just started buckling, taking out power lines all over the state, and really all over New England. And that was 3 weeks without power. Grocery stores had to shut down because the food literally went bad in the stores. Now, could that happen today? That was, 25 years ago, essentially. I'm convinced that something like that could still happen, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily the power grid. Because, some people might say, well, they got backup generators. And to a certain point, yeah, they do. But there's a lot of things that could happen that can make it to where you can't get your supplies. And if you're not prepared a little bit, it doesn't just mean toilet paper. I know that's the item that everybody talks about a lot of the time is, for them preppers, all they want to do is prep toilet paper. Food and water. It's very important. Medicine, security. Gold and silver I actually put at the bottom of the list, but I think it's very important. I always get comments that you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. And that's true. However, eventually when stuff comes back up online, who knows what could happen to the monetary system. I mean, if the grid in a country was to go down for a couple of weeks, let's just say, it would be real easy to reset the system during that downtime. That would be the perfect opportunity while nobody has access to anything to just reset everything. And I know a lot of people prep for that because they're preparing. They specifically watch the banking holidays when they have that 3-day off. I don't necessarily know if they could do it over a 3-day weekend. But if something crazy happened, you never know what could happen. So it's important that you guys are prepped and prepared. So I'm going to wrap the video up here. If you guys do want, join our Discord page. It has a lot of good information on it. And I can't thank you enough. And if you think of something that I didn't mention, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I love hearing y'all's comments. So thank you all for watching, commenting, and a special thank you to all the members of the channel. Please be sure to check out some of these other great videos, and I will see you guys again tomorrow on T-Square Talk. Hopefully we're going to have silver start picking up again, but we'll see how it plays out. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.